All right, we got a new segment. I was stewing Friday morning. I'm at a coffee shop, and I'm just like, I want to talk about this. How do I talk about this on the pod? And it was Mel Kiper and his take about not playing cover two, or not banning two high safeties, banning it in the NFL. And so I came up with, because there's always something from the weekend that I can't really shoehorn, that I really want to get to, that I can't really shoehorn into the game recaps without just going on for 10 minutes of a game recap. And it's kind of like ancillary. So
we got to build a wing for this. We got to build a section for this.
Exactly. It's called Upon Further Review. And it's basically going to be just a take that we wanted to get off our chest that we saw over the weekend. So Mel Kiper claimed that he wants to ban two high safeties. I have so much wrong with this. I don't know where to start, but I think I'm going to start with this. If your first instinct when you see scoring down around the NFL or the game changing to a degree is to implement new rules, if your first instinct is authoritarianism, I'm just going to wholeheartedly disagree with you. I think that is absurd, Mel Kiper, to just change the rules just because teams haven't quite adapted yet. And that's what it is. It's that they haven't found the antidote to what we're seeing go across the NFL in these combo coverages, these sim pressures that are everywhere. We just haven't found teams figure out the best ways to beat this, because the ways that we saw beat the cover threes and the man-heavy defenses of old, which was play action deep shots that just the new defenses take away, they don't exist anymore in this kind of modern paradigm of what defenses are running. You're seeing a lot more pressure off of play action with free runners off of blitzes. A lot of teams are scared to then turn their quarterbacks around because of that. And you're seeing a lot of those downfield over and crossers that teams were just spamming. You're seeing them get taken away. And so what it's going to have to do, though, is make you play more effective offense, make you execute better. I don't think that's a bad thing for anyone, that these low-hanging fruit schematic advantages that we saw offenses take advantage of the past decade, that those don't exist anymore, is objectively a good thing for, in my opinion, the quality of play or what is needed to perform on the offense side of the ball. So now the defense is taking the power back. We see these sort of seasons that the NFL game goes through, in my opinion, are good for the game. It makes you remember different parts of what the game looked like, whether it was the mid-2000s and how that game looked like when I was growing up, whether it was the 2010s and how that game looked like when I was, in adulthood, finally starting my career in the football world. And now another evolution of the game, what it's going to be going through the next few years, it's going to look different. And that's a good thing. We don't have to change and ban evolutions just because they favor one side of the ball or the other. To me, that's crazy. And for anyone who agreed with him, I'm just going to be.
I don't know if there's anybody that agrees.
That's the thing. No one. I'm maybe
if you agree
arguing
with Mel
against the
Kiper, tell us in the chat. If you don't agree with Mel Kiper, that's a great way to put it, Mike. And as an offensive lineman, from an offensive lineman perspective, some of these defenses, they're challenging you to run the football. They're essentially saying, you have to run us out of this look. Okay, if you don't like it, if you can't have explosive plays over the top, well, what are you going to do about it? And the only way to do that is to force their hand to get more guys down and open up things on the back end for your offense. And the way you do that is against, like, nickel runs is what we used to call it. When we played Green Bay, they used to challenge us. They'd say, our front six are going to be able to handle your five. We don't think you're tough enough to run us out of cover two. The only way that you can get through this thing or out of this situation is to go through it. That's with running the football, getting these guys to respect it. The schemes change, and then windows open up on the back end. That's what you have to do. There's really no secret about this whole thing. They're challenging you. We had an O-line coach, Aaron Kromer. He used to say, they don't respect you. They don't respect you. And Kromer knew what he was doing. He was telling our guys, do you see the defense? Do you see what Cutler's got to deal with here? Yeah. Run the football, create advantageous situations for your quarterback, and that'll get them out of that cover two, that's too high, three high looks that they're always in.
Yeah, it's just maybe I overreacted to one guy's take, and a lot of people were.
It's not an overreaction,
but it's more like the suggesting new rules part. I don't care what it is, just because one side's taking the upper hand. It's gross. It's gross to me. All right, what's your opinion?
I like that. Upon further review, I still hate gun runs in the low red area. I still hate not getting under center in short yardage. I still don't understand the willingness to allow the defense to react and go downhill. When you have the ball in a short yardage situation, the advantages you have are, first off, it's not a very long distance to go. Second off, we know the snap count. Thirdly, we know which direction we're going to run the football. We have the advantage. When I was growing up, it was fullbacks going back on backer, followed by a running back smacking head. It's rolling guys off the ball. When you're in gun, and I'm talking about the Bears here, and I was listening to the Bears center, Coleman Shelton, in his post-game locker room interview. They asked him about the 4th and 1 play down there on the goal line. A lot of you guys know what I'm talking about here. He said, well, I mean, speed option on, obviously wasn't the greatest look to run that. And he could have been like, it was a terrible call, but he said it wasn't the greatest look to run that. I'll be honest with you, it was a horrible call. It was an atrocious call. They should be thrown in jail for the play call because you got this quarterback back there throwing the ball 50 times. Now you want him to go speed option, take a potential hit with an overhang defender on the left side. Your quarterback's out of the play immediately when they've got +1 on the left side. You run speed option. There's supposed to be a pitch man and somebody that has the quarterback, somebody that has the running back. There's not just one guy overhang. There's 2 guys overhang. The play call's dead on arrival. When you get to the line of scrimmage, you look at numbers. If I'm Caleb Williams, I'm either taking a delay of game or calling timeout. I'm saying this isn't going to work. If I'm the lineman on the left side, I'm doing the math, and I'm saying we got to book this guy. There's another guy. There's 2 guys. The math doesn't add up. There's too many guys over there. I'll take it one step further. When you got a guy like Lamar Jackson, and you're in the low red area, and you hand the football off in gun for Lamar Jackson, you take your best player out of the game, you create a 10-on-11 situation for the defense, and you're at a disadvantage. Get under center, hand these guys the football with the option of then keeping it and leaking out the backside. Because when you're under center, the linebackers have to react immediately. When you're in gun, things are patient. Things take a little bit of time. There's the ball, there's the handoff action. What do they call it? Mesh point, but it's ball handling. The ball handling takes a little bit longer. When you're under center and the play is 95 Bob and we've got a fullback and we've got a running back, I like our chances at the line of scrimmage. I like my chances as a guard. I get to shoot my gun, close my eyes, and dominate what's ever in front of me. And when you take that out of my hands and it becomes a play where you're trying to capture or you're trying to out-scheme somebody on the edge, that's when you get in trouble. We lift weights all off season. We beat the hell out of each other's faces all week in individual period. We run inside zone. We run gap. We run duo. And then we get down there and we run speed option. And now the defense gets to be on offense and run downhill and take us out of the play. I hated the play call. I will always hate it when you've got a dual threat quarterback who has the ability to become that +1 on your offense, particularly in those situations. That's when you convert more often than not. Even Peyton Manning did a boot naked and was untouched in the end zone. These things, it's not rocket science, guys. It's not rocket science. You're under center, you roll guys off the ball, you score the football up the middle. When you don't, and you try to get cute, more often than not, you're shooting yourself in the foot.
I'll say this. The data, pure shotgun versus under center, is conflicting in terms of it's about even.
I'll tell you as an O-lineman, though.
In terms of success
even,
rate,
bro.
It's not like...
It's not even.
But running speed option, I think going gimmicky in short yardage is when I get a little worried.
Where do you draw the line for gimmicky? Because Andy Reid is doing shovel passes and
speed option to me is not something that a quarterback is reads enough to read well. Like when you watch a Navy do it at the collegiate level, or you watch a triple option team that's good at it.
Do.
They know to press the guy, pitch it. But if you haven't done that, and Caleb Williams objectively
just ran laterally,
hasn't done that, and you saw Anthony Richardson do it in a short yardage last week too, where he doesn't have the reps to know when you get a little bit of a look that you didn't expect, how to handle it.
Historically, that's a play call you get to as a check.
Yes.
If we are running X play, if they come out and we get this certain look, let's say there's 5 down look, you get a bear look, then you can pitch it off that end man on the line of scrimmage, right? They went out predetermined in speed option.
And it was
4th and 1.
Yes, exactly.
And that's when you start to question the coordinator. You start to question who's making the pre-snap reads and who's communicating.
There's that clip or this screenshot of literally within about 2 steps of Caleb getting sideways. Every offensive line with the Bears on the ground. And now it's like, yeah, you're going to cut in certain situations, so it's not bad. But then every Colts defensive lineman is not on the ground. So
somebody said it looked like the bad guys after they fought the Power Rangers. Just a bunch of bodies on the ground. The putties, remember the putties? They used to get beat up all the time.
They were
and then that big
nameless,
witch.
faceless,
Who's the big witch?
just getting their ass handed to them.